Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss backgrounds, which is always a very highly demanded topic for me over on Instagram. And in today's video, I will discuss a little bit about backgrounds, why I love coloring them. I will show you a few different types of backgrounds that I have done in different ways, and I will also try and give you some tips on how to get started if you would like to color backgrounds but haven't gotten around to it yet. And in the last part of the video, we'll color a small background. So this is one of the first backgrounds that I made. This is in the book Dagdrömmar by Johanna, and this was my second coloring book. So this was at the very beginning when I first started coloring, and I started doing backgrounds almost immediately. So I've always loved doing them, and as you can see, in the beginning they were not very good. I basically just scribbled with one pencil, and the rest of the page is done in markers. And this is kind of the same. This is one of my favorite pages by Hannah ever in all of her books. I love this little city in the clouds, and this background is not so amazing at all. Fortunately, I have a second copy of this book, so I might do this again later. And then I did this background, which is a little bit more smooth and a little bit more colorful, about 6 months after I started coloring. So this has always been sort of a love story with me. This one was from last year, and this is actually my most recent picture, including a pencil background. And I will show you some more that I have prepared. This is from my other big favorite book, Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. And here are two pencil backgrounds as well that I did. So this is entirely in Polychromos. But as you can see, there are many tips and tricks and sort of ways to make the background coloring a little easier. For example, here I actually left huge portions of the page white, but it still looks like there's a background. It still looks like a cloudy sort of sky. So this background was pretty quick to make, and also when you have these smaller areas here, they are very, very fast to fill in. And here I also, well, cheated a little. I used an electric eraser and I erased back little points of highlights, which adds a little more interest to the background. So these were not as massive as they maybe look, and they were definitely faster than I think one would think. The flowers and the little ornaments here definitely took longer than the background itself. In here I made one of my borders, so I limited the space of the background quite a bit. And I also like to do these cloudy sort of things where I go in with a pencil and I just let it fade out into the white of the page. And then I go to a different area and I start again. And at the end, I get this sort of cloudy, soft effect. And I do this a lot because it saves time, it saves pencil, and you still get sort of a colored background. And this page I absolutely loved doing, this double spread, because there are so many little bite-sized sections of this, so it's not as intimidating as doing one whole entire massive background. So you can do like one a day or two a day or one a week even, and still be done pretty quickly. I love doing this. And also I used the exact same color combination for all of these little sections, so I didn't have to think about choosing colors for all of these, which made my life much, much easier. And this is the page that I hope I will be coloring at the end of the video. I will take one of these little jars and do a little background, and I will just show you here. There are more little sections like this in the book. So if you want to start your backgrounds, these kinds of pages are a really good place to start. And also, and this might sound like a silly tip, but if you're afraid of backgrounds, get yourself a smaller book. There are books that are smaller. For example, this is Rita Biermann's book, and you can see it's quite a lot smaller than one of your sort of Swedish books. It's smaller than Ivy. You can see the comparison here. And it's definitely much smaller than World of Flowers and all those sort of standard Johanna books. And I love Rita's style. She has a gorgeous style of drawing. And so the pages are smaller, so you start out with not as a big a background. And also I chose this. This was already framed in this ornamental border here, so I didn't have so much to work with. This was very quick and easy. I have to finish this page. I did these sort of side borders here. And also I just went in with a couple of colors like this purpley blue one and let it fade out. And then I went in with this dark turquoise and let it fade out. So there are many different things to try. Oh, look, an unfinished page. And then of course some backgrounds just require the whole page. I didn't do a border for this one. This just had to be like the way it was. So this took a little while, but in the end it was worth it. And of course I never finish these in one sitting. They take a few days. And so in my other favorite book, because I have a couple, I want to show you some tips and tricks how I sort of manage to do backgrounds without them taking weeks and weeks, and how to make my coloring a little bit quicker and easier. Here, of course, I made my border, and this whole page is colored with Inktense pencils, which are water soluble. And water soluble pencils are always faster to use than dry colored pencils. This page has a background, but as you can see, it doesn't have a whole lot of space in between the flowers and the other things. So the background space is really quite limited. So this page would be a great way to start coloring backgrounds because there's not so much actual empty space to color. And on these two pages here, I used Polychromos dry pencils for the page, but watercolor pencils for the background, which made it much more quick and easy. And this whole next page is colored with Inktense as well, which makes it fairly quick. Here the whole thing was done in pencil. But then here I also mixed dry pencils and watercolor pencils, and I think the whole background is watercolor pencil, and if I am not mistaken, most of this page actually is watercolor pencil except for these two figures, because I can tell that this coat and this hat are dry pencil. And on this left page with the troll royal couple, I used markers, water-based markers, to cover the background, and then I used dry colored pencil to go over and give the background a little bit of a different color and more smoothness, because water-based markers will be a little bit streaky. So I can live with that. I don't mind a little bit of a streakiness, but sometimes I do go over it with just regular color pencil to smooth it out. This page is also Inktense, the whole of it. This was very, very quick. This just took a couple of hours, the whole page. I enjoyed it. This page was also markers for the background, which I don't even think I went over this with color pencil. You can see a little bit of a streakiness here, and I added some transparent bubbles with a white pen, with a white gel pen, and then the rest of the page is regular color pencil. And this whole page is color pencil. These were the castle arts that I tried. They have lovely, nice pastel colors. This left page was also water-based markers. I used the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen with a brush tip. And this I went over with color pencil. I think I went over this with the Prismacolors to smooth it out. This is also entirely colored pencil. These are the Derwent Pro colors. And here I drew this harlequin diamond pattern, which is just very basic, and it kind of created a wallpaper effect. Here is also the markers for the background. And I think I used the marker as a base for the leaves as well, and went over those with color pencil to add a bit of a shading. This entire thing is color pencil, and it's all blended out with a white pencil. These are the Pablos, I think, and I blended them with their own brand of white pencil, so I could achieve sort of a pastel effect. So as you can see, I use a lot of different mediums and a lot of different ways to achieve a background or any other effect. These are all colored pencils, no markers involved. And it's the same here. Tried a couple of different brands of pencils on these pages. And this background with the bunnies is also Inktense with added color pencil on top to get this sort of color variation. So as you can see, I use a ton of different ways to color my backgrounds. This is also colored pencil blended with white, and I did this cloudy effect where I just let the pencil fade out into white, and then I go in from another area and let that fade into the white, and I get this soft effect, and it's very easy and very effortless. And now I will show you how I color this little jar of what is this, a little moth or a firefly? And I will do just the background, and I will speed you up, and all of the colors will be listed in the description box down below.